Here's a riddle for you guys. What's worse? You killing an entire army, or someone else spoiling your fun by killing them all first? Makes you think, doesn't it? Hello, Winternet! Welcome to Tales to Showcase, where we put serial killers in dark holes and leave unattended children near them. I'm your host, the Watcher of New Earth. Well, happy Thorsday again, everyone. And today we'll be continuing the God Butcher story arc in a special spooky Thorsday. Although, with a name like the God Butcher, this storyline probably wasn't going to have a lot of happy feel-good issues. If you haven't seen my first Thorsday video, you should probably check it out. It's probably one of my best videos. But if you don't feel like it, I'll run through the main points now. In the past, a young Thor finds the dismembered head of what he seems to believe was a god. In the present, Thor begins a quest to find the missing gods of the planet Indigar and finds their remains in their kingdom. He deduces that this was done by Gorr, the God Butcher, the one responsible for the beheaded god. And in the future, an old Thor is the last god in Asgard, and he commences battle with Gorr's minions. Not that any of that really matters until the very end of this story anyway. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's begin. This is Thor, God of Thunder, number 2. The story begins with the shot of Mjolnir, along with a brief history of it narrated by Thor. He also mentions the whole needing to be worthy angle.
I've wrestled dragons with my bare hands, slain wolves the size of longboats. I have fought in more battles than most gods twice my age. So tell me, how much more worthy must I be?
If you had seen how many goats I ate that one time, then you'd be moving?
By the bristling beard of Odin, you are one stubborn hammer.
You're fat and stupid and just a fat, stupid meanie face. We join Thor in 893 AD as he leads a group of Vikings into battle. They sail towards their target, but the men begin to grow weary of the fog and ask if they should slow down.
I've sailed through the tempest of fire in the burning land of Muspelheim, and endless hurricanes of ice in frozen Niflheim.
Yeah, but what are those places foggy? Thor initially ignores the men's pleas, but suddenly a man stands up, claiming to have seen something standing on the water. This reminds Thor of the beheaded god from before, and although he reprimands the men for wasting time talking, he does indeed tell them to slow down. As they leave, it seems the man was correct, as a figure stands in the middle of the fog and begins following them.
I smell god flesh.
Never mind. It's that whale over there.
3 days later, they arrive on the shore of what will someday be Russia. The Norsemen are raring to go, but Thor stops them, as he wants to know where the gods are. The opposing army tells him that they'll be arriving soon. Suddenly a man cries that he sees them, but when it lands, it turns out to be a winged horse.
Well, I guess not everyone can get a humanoid god.
Actually, this is the steed of one of the gods. It's covered in blood, however, and Thor decides to let them fight while he investigates. And, yeah, okay, plus 2 badass points for this shot of Thor riding the Pegasus.
The clouds drip blood.
Are clouds solid enough to hold blood? No, I'm seriously asking. Like, if I got cut on a plane and the blood somehow got out of the plane, would it fall and land onto a cloud, or would it fall straight to Earth? These are the questions that haunt me at night. I really need to get out more.
As Thor sails above the clouds, he spots another flying horse with a rider. However, when Thor approaches them, it seems like the rider is in no state of mind to talk.
A bloody riderless horse and a headless god. Someone has ruined my fun for the day.
Don't you just hate when someone kills the person you were gonna kill?
Thor entertains the notion that the gods might have killed themselves.
I once saw 2 gods slay one another in an argument over the day of the week.
As it turns out, it wasn't Taco Tuesday.
Despite his theory, Thor still has a bad feeling about this. Behind him, Gorr is crafting a sword with his magic, and in a second the horse's head is cut off.
Gorr must be a fan of The Godfather. Ha! Godfather.
Feel that, little Lord of Heaven, that sense of helplessness as you fall. That is how it feels to be mortal.
Does Gorr think mortals fall over all the time? Excuse me, sir, but we have better... It's okay. I fell on my pride.
Next, you will learn how it feels to be butchered.
And if we have time after that, you will learn what it feels like to be a painting.
Also, looks like Gorr and the Spectre shop at the same store. cloaks and speedos are us. As Thor falls, he manages to grab onto the other flying horse and charges at Gore.
The name is Thor, Cloudstalker, of Asgard.
I don't care.
Thor and Gore begin fighting, but it seems like the God Butcher is simply toying with the young god. That is, until Thor actually lands a good hit on him. We finally get a good look at Gore, and I'm at a loss. I'm not sure who to compare him to. The face definitely reads Voldemort, but the teeth scream Killer Croc. That and him being naked and dressed at the same time still reminds me of Gozer.
Guess I'll have to do all of them.
The fight is extremely well drawn, but what I like about this scene is the writing. While other comics that we've looked at have the characters spewing dialogue, this narration is an inner monologue of Thor's. He tells of a story that happened to him years ago. As a child, Thor witnessed a god named Dagger go insane and go on a killing spree across the Nine Realms. He was eventually caught and was kept in a pit awaiting execution. Thor, only a toddler at the time, was confused as he regularly saw his father covered in blood from battle and didn't understand how Dagger was different. Odin tried to explain that there was a difference between war and murder, but Thor wasn't satisfied. At night he snuck out to the pit to see if there was a difference in their eyes. Well, the little idiot fell in. Panicking, he prepared himself for the attack, but to his surprise, Dagger didn't move towards him. He simply tells Thor about the chaos he has brought, all the people he'd killed, all the families he destroyed, and all with a passion in his voice. And the eyes Thor had sought to look at weren't that of a madman. They were calm and serene, and looked at him as if he was already dead. For weeks after, Thor prayed to the elder gods that he'd never have to look at those eyes again. But now, looking at Gore, it seems like his prayers went unanswered.
It's a beautifully written scene, and it's well worth the price of the book just for those few pages.
I cannot help but wonder, little god, to the poor damned fools below us who worship you. What are you the god of? Axes, drunkenness, vanity, or war, perhaps? I have killed so very many gods of war, and gods of fear, gods of chaos, gods of blood and wrath and jealousy and lies, of plagues, of earthquakes, genocide and revenge, of degradation, of death. Very few gods of poetry and flowers, though I kill those just the same. Tell me now, Prince of Asgard, before all you're able to do is whimper and scream, what was Thor the god of before he died?
Thunder.
And they're suddenly hit with a thunderbolt.
Luckily for Thor, it's super effective.
We cut back to the present where Thor has finally stopped the guard dog from the last issue. Now convinced that Gore was responsible for the death of the gods of Indigar, he promises to avenge them and sets off in a search of the God Butcher. And the comic ends with the past Thor lying in the snow after his battle with Gore.
And that was Thor, God of Thunder #2. And, like the previous issue, it was amazing.
While this issue doesn't really do much in plot progression, it does really help build the God Butcher as a formidable villain. Aaron and Ray Beach continue to bring a great run with mind-blowing artwork and brilliant writing.
We'll continue with the God Butcher arc all the way through, but I definitely recommend you check it out for yourself. Anyways, happy Thorsday, and as always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. This is the Watcher of New Earth, signing off.